so continuing with the lesson, so we just went over how to find the area given two smaller ones, given the length of a large one, and the two smaller ones being added to the next one. All right, so in order to find the perimeter of the rectangle, you can use this formula, or you can also just still add up all the sides. So, if you've got a rectangle, and the formula comes from, okay, this is length and this is width, right? So, actually, I got this wrong. This is length and this is width. So if this is width, we know that this is also the width. And if this is the length, we know this is also the length. So if you're doing the perimeter, remember you're adding length plus width plus width. And I don't know if you remember from algebra, but a length and a length make two lengths, and a width and a width make two widths. So that's where this formula comes from. So let's find the area and the perimeter. I'm just going to do a couple. So this first one, how do we find the area? Well, I know the formula for area equals length times width. So your length is 11 and your width is 12 feet. Our units here are feet. And 11 times 12 is what, 121 feet. All right, and then we have your perimeter, which just means you're going to add up all the sides. And if I know this is 12, and then I also know that this is 11, and if I add all those up, sorry, this is not, sorry, I should have multiplied, this is 132. All right, so 11 plus 11 plus 12 plus 12. 12 plus 12 is 24. 24 plus 11 is 35. And plus 11 more is 46. All right, and then I forgot, 132 feet, this should be squared because area is always squared. All right, let's do this one real quick. We've got 24 feet times 10 feet gives you 240 feet squared. And then the perimeter, I'm just going to add all those up. So 24 plus 24 plus 10 plus 10 gives you 68 feet. All right, so I'm going to go ahead to the next slide. All right, area and perimeter of a square. Well, all the sides are equal on a square. So that's where that S times S comes from, which is S squared. So if you have S times S, that's equal to S squared. Okay, but still the same thing as length times width. And then the perimeter, well, this is S and this is S, that makes this S, and that also makes this S. So if you add them all together, that would be 4 S's. So that's where the 4S comes from. You can also find S by taking the square root. So let's say you get the area of a square is 64, and I want to find what S is. If you take the square root of 64, because we know A is equal to S squared, and if this is equal to 64, and we want to find S, how do you get rid of a square? Well, you take the square root. So if you just take the square root of 64, you end up with 8. All right, so area of parallelogram, this is a parallelogram, it's just your base times your height, okay? It's not the side of it, this A, it's the height of your parallelogram. And then a perimeter, again, is just adding up all the sides. A trapezoid, the area of a trapezoid is half of your height, okay? You can either do either one. I always use this one because it's a little bit easier. Half of your height, and then times your base 1 plus your base 2. And then again, your perimeter is adding up all your sides. All right, so let's do some of these problems. To fence the parallelogram shape below, fence posts must be installed every 9 feet along the border of the lot. How many fence posts are needed? Hint, make sure there is a post at every corner of the lot. Okay, so you have to find what of this, okay? If you're doing the fence, okay? Do you want the area or do you want the perimeter? Well, fence is the outside of it, so we want the perimeter of this. So the first thing you're going to have to do is find the perimeter, and perimeter is all the outside, right? So you take 90 plus 90 plus 81 plus 81, okay? 90 plus 90 is 180, and then 81 plus 81 is 162. Add those together and you get 342. Okay, and then it says along the 9 feet along the border. So every 9 feet you will put a post, okay? So that means to figure out how many you need, you have to divide this by 9. And so you end up with 38 fence posts. Okay, hopefully that was pretty clear. Alright, a square hot air duct must have the same area as two rectangular ones with the dimensions of 6 by 8 and 4 by 13. So this is kind of like our other question. So you have two air ducts, two smaller rectangular air ducts. This is 8 by 16 inches. And this one is 4 by 13 inches. Okay. And you've got one large one. Saying these two together are going to equal this. How long are the sides, and this is a square by the way, so that means these are equal, okay? How long are the sides of the square duct? So that means I'm going to have to find the area of this one, which we know to be as your length times your width, right? So 8 times 6 plus 4 times 13. 8 times 6 is 48. 4 times 13 is 52. Add those together, you get 100. So that means the area of this square is 100. So can you figure out what these sides are? Well, the easiest thing to do is you take the square root of it, and the sides are going to be 10, because we know 10 times 10 give you 100. So how long are the sides of the square ducts? It would be 10 inches. Alright, so I just want to review a couple of things with you real quick. How to find the area of a trapezoid. Let's do one of those because I didn't have one of those up here. Let's say I give you a trapezoid. Let's say this is 4 inches, this is 8 inches, this is 12 inches, this is 2, and this is 2. So if I want to find the area of the trapezoid, remember the area of the trapezoid is height divided by 2 times your base 1 plus your base 2. So order of operation says you must do this first. So your bases of your triangle are the top part and the bottom part. So I'm going to let this be base 1 and this be base 2. So I add those together, 8 plus 12. And we know our height is the height of it, so that's going to be 4 divided by 2. So we do this first. 8 plus 12 is 20, right? And then 4 divided by 2 is 2. So we're left with 2 times 20, which is 40. So our answer will be 40 inches squared. Make sure you have the correct units. When you're talking about area, it's always going to be squared. Alright, and then to find the perimeter, you just add up all the sides, okay? So perimeter equals 8 plus 2 plus 12 plus 2. Notice I did not include the 4 because the 4 is not on the outside. So this is not included. So 8 plus 12 is 20, 20 plus 2 is 22, 22 plus 2 is 24. So 24 inches equals perimeter. Okay? Alright, one more I want to do is a parallelogram because we didn't do one of those. This is 4, this is 8, this is 8, this is 10, this is 10, and we'll let it be feet. the parallelogram area is just your base times your height. And the main thing is you have to know which is which. So your base here is 10 and your height is 4, not 8, but 4. Be careful on that. So therefore your answer is 40 feet squared. Now if you are finding the perimeter, we just add the sides up, which are 8 plus 8 plus 10 plus 10. That's 20 plus 8 is 28. 28 plus 8 is 36. And this would just be feet. So be careful, make sure you don't add the 4 in. So here's your homework assignment for this. These are just practice problems. Okay, and I'm not taking any homework up this week. These are all just practice problems. So if you have any questions with any of them, please contact me and I'll be happy to do a post on how to